All right, so here we go. Onryo. So the build is, oh fuck, that's the fingernails add-on that makes you go faster when you're coming out of the TV, right? I'm going to assume that's what that is. And then ring drawing is the one that spreads condemned stacks whenever people heal. Biffle, Jolt, Corrupt, Call of Brine. Now this is post-nerf Call of Brine, which is kind of questionable. Like, that doesn't seem to fit into the rest of this build. Like, in my opinion, okay, so right off the bat, just when it comes to the build, Stabiffle, I think, is very hit or miss on killers that can't avoid losing stacks. So I think this perk could end up being extremely valuable, or it might do nothing at all, right? It's just one of those types of perks. Jolt is good. It's a good choice. Corrupt's obviously a good choice. Like, these two perks I think are amazing. Stabiffle is like a risky perk. Like, I don't think it's a bad perk. Obviously, Stabiffle can be insane, but it's risky. And then Call of Brine, I kind of hate Call of Brine alone. Like, I don't like that at all. Because I think, like, ever since Call of Brine got nerfed, now it feels like gen kick perks are kind of only worth running if you're, like, stacking them, right? Because that's kind of the benefit to these perks, is that there's so many that activate on kicking a gen that you can run Call of Brine, Eruption, nowhere to hide, right? That way when you kick a gen, you get 3 effects instead of just 1. So just running Call of Brine alone, not a big fan of it. I think it's probably not worth the perk slot, especially new Call of Brine, because new Call of Brine's pretty weak. But anyway, oh, is this Fractured Cowshed? Okay, well, I think I know. So I think I know why this game might go poorly. I feel like even if he plays this really well, it's probably going to go badly just because Fractured Cowshed is a terrible map. But we'll see anyway. We'll see. I mean, I'm sure there's probably still little things you can do right and wrong. Finds Claudette, goes for a tricky little hit on her, but doesn't get it. That was a good attempt. Gets the pallet break. She makes it to main. Yeah, I mean, what are you going to be able to do? He's going to try to use his invisibility here. I mean, Claudette just played that well. Getting blinded, poor guy. Poor guy, just getting blinded over and over again. Why is it 10 FPS? That's on my end. I don't know. I think it's something with my PC. The actual video isn't like that. It's just like, for some reason, my shit doesn't run it very well. I don't know why. I think it's because I have like OBS open and I'm streaming. Okay, anyway, sorry. I kind of wasn't making it. He teleported here. It gave that Claudette or that Nia a stack. Now she's just kind of looping. Following, finds 2 people here. This is just so tough because they have so many save pallets. I don't really get the point of manifesting and unmanifesting there, but it's kind of okay. Actually, you know, it got value, so never mind. There you go. He gets a hit on Claudette there. That was a good hit. It didn't really seem to make sense to me, but actually that was a really good play because he uses invisibility to like kind of mind game him, like to mind game that like really safe pallet, and it got him a hit, which is really good. Yeah, this is just really good play, dude. I don't even, like, what the fuck am I even supposed to say about this? This is really good. Basically, if you guys don't know what he's doing, just to, like, explain to maybe people that don't really understand, basically, whenever you, like, manifest as Onryo, like, you can see it every time he does it, right? Like, he demanifests, so this is him going into, like, the stealth mode, right? It'd be like the equivalent of Wraith going invisible. Whenever you re-manifest, like, you can watch his hands. Like, you see how there's, like, how there's, like, these hands overlay? They'll go invisible, and then back to visible, and then invisible, and back to visible. And that's actually accurate to what the survivors see. So you can, like, use this to mind game the survivors into, like, not seeing you change direction or not seeing you coming. So, like, right here, like, he basically, like, came around that corner right as his invisibility was kicking in, so she wasn't able to react in time and then gets the down. Like, that was really, like, that was 2 hits on Claudette that were both at really safe pallets. That was really good. Like, that was a really, really good start. So, yeah, I could try reducing the quality. Yeah, I can try. Oh, did I ruin everything? Oh, God. The FPS is a little bit better, but is that worth? Sure, why not? Maybe? Oh god, I don't know. The quality is kind of a lot worse now. Like, the FPS is better, but like the actual video quality, I think it's fine. It's fine. We can make do. Alright. Chasing Nia here. Gonna go back to the hook. Hey, what's the plan here? Do you tunnel or do you chase somebody else? Okay, fine, Gabriel. Get a hit there. Okay, he's just gonna commit to Gabriel. Alright. Now, it's something that I don't want to do is I don't want to really like give the advice of, because like unfortunately it's a good play pretty much always to like tunnel someone out if you just want to win, but I don't really want to give that advice, so I think I'm just gonna like try to shy away from that. Gabriel makes that pallet, gonna kick it. There was a survivor hovering and I think you saw that, so you're gonna try to punish it. Yep, it's you. Okay, it's Yui. You're gonna lose some stacks, and this is why I'm not a huge fan of Stabiffle. Oh god, what is Yui doing? Oh my god, what the fuck was the point of that? Okay, well never mind, you get a free down. That's sick. But again, Stabiffle's now at 0 stacks, and this is why like I'm always like on the fence about Stabiffle on killers where you can't really like actively avoid losing stacks, right? Because sometimes situations like this happen where you can't really just ignore the obsession. I mean, I guess you could ignore her there, but it would have been stupid to ignore her there, right? Or not even, I mean, even that was kind of a unique case because she kind of just died. Even if it wasn't that, even if she just kind of like body blocked a lot or was just really aggressive with flashlights, right? Sometimes you just can't ignore them, you know? Okay, so far this is all being played well. This Nia's playing it well, but so are you. You didn't even have to fake that. I think you could have just swung at that and hit even if she vaulted, but that's okay. Still just kind of playing this cow tree well so far. Chasing her the right direction. Again, chasing her this way is better than the other way, unless you plan on mind gaming her. Get it down there, too. I mean, this is just going well so far. I don't really, like... Where does this game go south? Does this game just go south because you're on cowshed and they're slamming gens? I think so. Because there's another gen getting done. You're going to teleport straight to it. This feels like it's going to be a game where literally the issue is just that you didn't play as try-hard as they were playing, right? Because I feel like micro-wise, it feels like you're getting the better of them a lot. You go for a double vault mind game. He seems to not bite it. Gets the vault in. You're going to vault in here too. You need to do some kind of mind game there, though, at that window. I don't like the way he played that window. Like, I feel like that's definitely an opportunity to get a hit at that window. And, like for instance, like, getting a hit on this Claudette means a down, which means another hook, which also means a jolt proc. And I feel like it also means more pressure. Like, this is really important. Like, this is actually something I'm going to be talking about in that upcoming video that I've been talking about. I keep teasing at. But snowballing pressure is so important. So this might not seem like a big deal, but I do feel the need to point it out, especially because he's playing so well that I feel like I really need to nitpick anyway, right? So, okay, what like when you have pressure, when you start to get pressure going, like for instance, just to explain what pressure even is. Like, this survivor on the hook can't do gens, right? This survivor that's being chased right now can't do gens. Another survivor is going to have to get off gens at some point soon to get this unhook, which means that they can't do gens, which means only one person is going to be on gens most likely, unless they greed and they, like, keep two people on gens and try to, like, delay the unhook. And if they do, all that does is give you a chance to snowball, right? And snowballing is really strong because that's when you can get so much pressure that there's nobody on gens. So, like, this is really important, right? When you have somebody on a hook and you're chasing somebody, especially somebody that's injured, it's so important to down them as fast as possible. And it might not seem like a big deal, but the difference between downing them in, like, 15 seconds versus 20 seconds might literally be the difference maker between you snowballing your pressure into a win and not. You know what I mean? So, like, I think that right there was just, like, an attempt at, like, a invisibility mind game, if I'm not mistaken. I guess I should probably be sure. Like, were you manifested here? Because this shack window can absolutely be played. I think this was you trying to just trying to use your invisibility, though, right? No, it wasn't, actually. You were just holding W here. So, yeah, I just don't like the way that this shack is played at all. Like, this double vault attempt is at least something. Like, that was like a somewhat of a moonwalk there, but it wasn't really much of anything. There's way better ways to play this. Let me just see how it does. She throws shack pilot there, then she runs away. And I'm guessing the unhook's going to come in. Because, again, imagine if she got downed right now. That would be huge. Now the unhook comes in, so now, like, the snowball's gone. So, yeah, I need to go back and revisit this real quick. So, when you're playing this, you should be at least attempting something. There's literally no reason not to attempt something. So, like, you have a couple choices here, right? You can, so, like, right here, for instance, right? In my opinion, there's no excuse for this one. Like, you're not, like, just coming out of manifest or anything. You're just fully manifested with a red stain, and you just hold W into shack. No mind games at all. Nothing even attempting at a mind game. That's the freest avoiding of a hit ever. So every single time that she runs in here, every single time that you get close enough that forces her to vault, it's a chance for a hit, right? It's like a you can call it a coin flip, but maybe it's not a coin flip. Maybe it's a little bit more in the favor of survivor, but whatever. There's at least an opportunity to get a hit here, right? Every single time she goes to this window. And at the very least, even if you don't get a hit, you could at least force down shack pilot earlier, right? At the very least. But, like, this is not even an attempt. You don't even attempt anything. You're just giving up a free attempt at a hit here and letting her vault for free, which is a waste of time. Like, you're just letting her waste your time for free without even attempting anything. This is at least an attempt, but honestly, double vaulting is not a very strong mind game. Like, if you're going against good survivors, that's not a very strong mind game. And maybe the reason why you did that is because maybe you didn't think this Claudette was very good. I mean, she did eat 2 hits earlier on safe pallet, so it kind of makes sense to be like, maybe Claudette's not very good. Maybe I can just, do a simple mind game like a double vault and, get a hit that way. Yeah, you can triple vault. Triple vaulting is okay too. Even triple vaulting I don't think is actually that good against good survivors, but it's not bad, right? It's at least something. Like really, all you attempt is a double vault here. Like again, right here, you can you can easily turn around. Let me back up a little bit without backing up too much. Like right here, before your red stain gets too far, like if you just turn around and then moonwalk this corner, that can make a huge difference, right? Or you can go to like right here and show your red stain, and then back up and moonwalk into Shaq to get her get her on the other side of the vault, right? There's so many things you can do here. You can either predict the vault and then double back in. You can moonwalk to hide your red stain and turn the corner. There's so many things that you can do to maybe get you a hit here. But instead, again, you just do the same thing where you hold W. She just vaults because obviously she knows she has to. She gets away with it for free. And again, another attempt right here. Nothing. No attempt at a mind game. I mean, this time she just goes to the pallet and forces you to kick it. But like still, like that was like 3 different attempts there that you had at a mind game to get a hit. And again, if you would have got this, like say hypothetically this down happened, like how much time passes here? Like when does the actual, when's the unhook happen? I'm almost done with this segment, okay? I know I've been stalling on this a minute. The unhook happens at what, 4:25? Like your first opportunity of hitting her was at like, it was right here, right? Like this was your first opportunity to hit her. You could have gotten a hit right here. At 3, it was literally like 25 seconds of time. Like you could have gotten a hit here. You could have like moonwalked in, like, okay, so like here what you can do is you could either show your red stain and then moonwalk to the window. You can show your red stain, pretend that you're moonwalking to the window, and then actually moonwalk into Shaq. There's a lot of different things you can do here with like your red stain and your mind games. And if you would have at least attempted something or like gotten a hit here, like you can definitely get a hit here. This is absolutely a place where you can get hits. And if you would have gotten this hit right now at like 3:58, like if you could have did a mind game, if this right here would have been a hit at 4 minutes, you could have slugged her, left her on the ground, and then went back to the hook and basically cut off anybody that was going to save. And at that stage of the game, you are in firm control, right? Like again, if this survivor gets downed right here, you're suddenly in firm control because this survivor is downed. They can't do gens. You can go back to the hook and prevent the unhook, which means the survivor on the hook can't do gens. Other survivors are going to have to be coming to the hook, which means you basically get free chases and free pressure. So you'll be able to get more injuries. Suddenly the survivors are scrambling to recover, right? Suddenly half their team is not doing gens and half their team is out of commission, and they have to save them, right? They can't just let half their team die. So like they're under so much pressure that you can take advantage of that. You can kind of just patrol around like where you think they might be coming from, which is probably the generators. So you can kind of like patrol around the area, try to catch them off on their way to the hook or to the slug, and then more than likely you'll either get the survivor on hook going to the next hook stage, or you'll get a lot of value out of this but basically no matter what, you get a ton of value, right? Now what happens instead is that you don't do any of that, and instead what happens is she throws Shaq pallet, she forces you to kick it, and then the unhook happens, and then you don't even down her, right? And now you're just back at square one. Like that whole chase ended up just being a huge waste of time. All you got out of it was Shaq pallet being thrown. And there's so much more value there that you could have gotten. And now you're back here, you're on Yui again, who just got unhooked. Again, no stabiffle happening because you're chasing the obsession, which is again kind of a waste of... I do think the build, that kind of seemed like bullshit. That kind of seemed like it should have hit, man. I know that was like, I know she was on the other side of the window, but medium vaults usually don't protect you very long. And most medium vaults will get hit. You'll get hit afterwards, like from that far. So I feel like that maybe should have hit. You don't get this hit. You shouldn't have even swung at that one. I don't think. But you do, and you get stunned. Gonna go around. I mean, hey, that mind game works. There you go. That mind game probably shouldn't have worked, but it did. So I'm not gonna give you shit for it. So there you go. Gonna get Yui on hook again for the second time. But again, like the whole time this is happening, there's probably 3 survivors on gens, which is exactly what I'm saying. Like had that down happened at Shaq, there could have been way less survivors on gens and way more pressure. So you're choosing to hook this guy closer to the actual generator, which is interesting. You're gonna I'm guessing this is just for scouting to see if somebody gets a stack. Nobody got a stack, so no one's here. Okay, you're playing close. Okay, you're looking at the eyeball. Okay, I respect it. Oh yeah, I think you guys are right. Maybe Neo wasn't the one on the hook. Either way, Neo was hooked before. It doesn't matter. Or sorry, not Neo, Yui. Whatever. You guys know what I mean. Okay, the unhook happens. He's gonna teleport back and give them some stacks right away. And he finds Yui again, who's death hook. So you could get a kill here on Yui if you want. I think that's what you're gonna do. He has this window. There's a okay. Yeah, well played. This Yui definitely, like, also FYI, just for the sake of like strategy, and again, I hate promoting this, but also at the same time, it is true, right? Hypothetically, in a scenario where like one survivor seems to be not very good. I mean, I'm not trying to be mean to this LOD, okay? Sirius LOD might be. Sorry, Yui? I think I'm getting them mixed up with LD because their name looks... Either way, this person might be a phenomenal human. You know, maybe they do a lot for charity. They're probably a great person, okay? I don't want to make it sound like I'm shitting on them as a person. But just going to be real, they're kind of bad at DBD, okay? Like, they got a lot to work on in terms of their DBD skill. And if you want to, like, get free... Like, not free wins, but if you want to, like, do the best thing you can in order to win... It really is a good strategy to kind of like focus on the weak link and just kind of like use them for free pressure and also like just getting them killed so that there's one less survivor. And that's kind of what happened here. It kind of happened like midway through the game, but it kind of did happen here, right? That Yui's dead, so now it's a 3v1, but there's only one gen left, so it's a little bit late. You do teleport here and see some scratch marks. You find Gabriel. This is a really strong tile. I was going to say, yeah, it might be worth it just not to chase here. That's a very strong tile, and you know, with how late you are in the match, it might not be worth it to go after that. So you do leave it. Gonna kick this gen with Call of Brine. Gonna see a survivor there. I'm guessing you're gonna pretend like you don't, and you're gonna try to hit him. Using the invisibility well. Pathing there was a little bit bad, but I think you get this hit, right? Yeah, you get this hit. There you go. Your Stabiffel's also completely gone. Stabiffle I actually did nothing this game. It literally did like nothing. At one point, I think he might have had 3 stacks, and that was it. Has a pretty good palette here. This is mostly just Cal Shed things now. I feel like at this point, you might be better off hitting and running. There is no palette here, and you know that, so I think you're going to try to play this, which is pretty understandable. But you got to get the better of this Nia quickly, or else you're going to lose this last gen. Like, this is a really important chase, right? If this Nia juices you pretty well, which it seems like she is, yeah, she makes it to this palette. This is why on a map like Calshed, it might be a little bit better to force them into, like, healing as Onryo, because your chase just isn't that strong. And this Nia also seems like a pretty strong survivor too, right? Like, I think if instead you were chasing Claudette or Gabriel, this would be more worth it, but I think chasing Nia here is going to be a losing play. Yeah, she just does really good, and then gens get done. Still kind of on her, but dude, Calshed is just so busted. My God, I'm sorry. I'm trying to pause, but like, Jesus, dude. Like, safe palette, path palette. Like, Jesus fucking hell, man. It's so brutal. So yeah, with this Nia being a pretty good survivor, this is just a tough chase to take. I mean, there's really no way for you to force this down without her messing up extremely badly. You hear them opening the gate. You're going to leave now to go try to stop it, but yeah. I think just committing to this Nia in the end game, well, not in the end game, but in like the later game is really probably the other big mistake that I'd say here. I'm just gonna wait. I'm gonna wait before I give my final analysis because I think there's something more I can say. But yeah, you seem to be getting kind of lost with these scratch marks. Maybe you might as well just smack him. Like, why not smack him if he's right there? If you smack him right there, that makes it so he can't like body block as well, right? Like, if you don't smack him, you're just kind of giving them an opportunity to body block and help her get out. I mean, I know you're Onryo, so body blocking is a little bit harder, but you might as well just smack him, right? Yeah, there you go. I mean, again, I think no matter what, you're probably fucked here. Like, I don't really know. Unless you're going to keep him here for endgame collapse. Is that the idea? Is the idea keep him here for endgame collapse? Oh, I think you're panicking. Are you tilted? Are you tilted and panicking? This feels like maybe a place of panic, I feel like. Like, I feel like in the earlier game, you felt it felt like there was a lot more control. I feel like this seems to happen a lot. Where when you have, like, a rough game, you get to the end and you just start, like, hitting buttons. Okay, well, you kind of gave him the body block. You can maybe try to manifest through them, but it's probably not going to work, right? Yeah, she's got too much distance. There's no way. Did she have made for this hope? I couldn't really tell. It's hard to tell because, like, it's kind of choppy, right? The FPS is kind of choppy, so it's hard to tell, like, who has made for this and who doesn't. Because I could normally tell, but I feel like it was kind of hard with how choppy it was. I guess I can see it real quick. Oh, yeah, she did. I was going to say, I thought she might because she seemed really fast, especially at the end there. Like I feel like them running to the exit gate especially was really fast. Like, in the chases earlier, I was like, seems like she might have made for this. It was just hard to tell because of the choppiness. But especially at the end, you can definitely tell. 3 of them had made for this. The only one that didn't was the Yui who got killed. So, yeah. So, that's tough. Obviously, like, I think if you beat this team, like, okay, you're playing a low-tier killer, you're playing on one of the hardest killer maps in the entire game, and you're playing against a bunch of strong builds. So realistically speaking, this is really not a bad result, Honestly, like this is honest to God, given everything that happened in this match and what you were up against, this was really honestly a decent result. I think you could have gotten a better result, don't get me wrong, but this was honestly a good result. I think you played this very well. Like there's only a few things that I could really nitpick, but I just feel like this was kind of a rough thing to begin with. What was their items? They just had a couple flashlights. There wasn't really anything too crazy. One, prove thyself. Nothing really crazy for gens. Yeah, I mean, I think you had a really good start. I think the start of your match was amazing. I think you did a really good job of getting downs on Cowshed early. Again, I think the biggest mistakes was this. I think, again, I've already talked about it in depth, so I won't do it again. But I think the biggest mistakes was this, not downing this Claudette faster at Shaq, which I think you absolutely could have. I think this was a golden opportunity to snowball your pressure and win. I guarantee you, if you down this Claudette at Shaq instantly without like fucking letting her waste like 30 seconds of your time and then go back to hook, this game is probably a win, if not like a 2K or a 3K at minimum. Other than that, the only other thing I would say is I still think there was kind of a chance when you got to this late game. Like, you got to this late game and there wasn't really a lot of gen progress on any of the gens. They were also pretty split. But you, like, come over here, you, like, kick this gen, you eventually find this Nia. And I think you even get the first hit on her pretty quickly, which is good, right? You find her at T-walls, which is not necessarily a good tile. She actually plays the T-walls pretty badly, and then you hit her. And then from here is where it's like, I don't know. This is 100% made for this. Now that I'm actually looking at this, the fact that she even makes this palette is because of made for this. She shouldn't even really be making that. She's just so fucking fast. Well, maybe she would make it just barely, but I don't know. She like makes it with ease. And then once she gets here, dude, it's tough. Like actually even this palette, there's actually something you could have done here that I didn't even talk about either. This palette is kind of isolated, right? So, like, the number one thing you don't want to do is get stunned and immediately kick it, right? Like, I think that's what you do here, which is really, really bad. That is really bad. Don't do that. You're literally just giving your distance. So when you're in a situation like this, it's kind of like baseball. Like, have you guys ever seen or played baseball when someone's trying to like steal a base, right? Nia is basically someone that's on base trying to steal a base right now. That's literally what this is, right? And if you just give them all the room in the world to do it, like, you're just letting her get a head start the second that she starts doing it, right? You're isolated in the corner right now. If you guys don't know where we are on the map, we're in the corner. Over here on the left, there's nothing. It's just a wall. There's nothing there, right? So what you should be doing is after you get stunned by this, you should be moving to the right, right? Like you as a killer needs to go to the right, because what she'll do is she will just mimic whatever you do, but the opposite. She'll mirror it. Sorry, that's the word. Mirror, not mimic. She'll literally just mirror whatever you do, right? Like, if you go right, she goes left. If you go left, she goes right, right? Like, that's currently how she's going to play this, because that's how you have to play it, right? Like, if you go left and she stays left, you're just going to catch up to her and kill her, right? So that's 100% how every survivor plays this, is they will just mimic your movement. And because you're in the corner of the map, this is a perfect golden opportunity for zoning, right? So what zoning is basically if you go right and you force her to go left, you can basically like go right, force her to go over there, and then come back and kick the pallet while she's standing like right here, maybe, right? Like, if she's standing, like, right here when you kick the pallet, she gets, like, no distance away, right? She has to either loop around the other side and run, or she starts running this way, but she starts from way further to the left, right? Which gives her way less distance, which helps her get to the next tile not as well. And I guarantee you she wouldn't make it anywhere from here, because this is pretty deep in the corner. Like, instead, you kick it right away. She gets a ton of distance. Again, especially with Made for This. Made for This makes this distance even much worse. Like, fuck, it's such a busted perk. But she gets so far, right? As a matter of fact, I wouldn't even say so far. She gets just enough distance that she can probably make that vault. And she does make that vault. And again, if you were just zoned it out, she doesn't make that vault, right? And then she goes down. And again, you down her here. If you get this down, you can then get to the generators faster, which means you can stop the final gen from getting done. Because again, the down would have happened, what, like 7:44? Like, probably right now is when it would have happened. Around 7:44 is probably when the down would have happened. Let's see when the final gen gets done. 7:44, like 8:10-ish? 8:09? No. Yeah, like 8:08 is when the final gen gets done. So yeah, I mean, that was what? A solid, like, 25 seconds, I think? Just like before? Like, I don't know. I feel like, again, it might not seem like a big deal. Like, it might seem like I'm nitpicking about these little, like, instances where you have, like, where like you can save like a little bit of time here and there, but it's a massive deal, dude. Like, you get that Nia downed before that gen gets done, you can put her on a hook, or you can slug her and go check on the gens, chase people off of gens, get more pressure on the map, maybe start regressing them with Call O'Brien and Angel, and then suddenly they're in a much worse spot. But instead, you don't really play that palette well. On top of that, she has Made for This. Also, just from like a strategic point of view, and again, I said this on the first watch through, but from like a strategic point of view, just from watching the chases that have happened in this game, this Nia is the best survivor on the team. Like I can say with pretty confident. Well, we didn't see a ton of Gabriel, so maybe Gabriel's good too. We didn't see a ton of him, so maybe he was good too. But like Nia's definitely way better than Claudette. So like that's also kind of a big deal. Like in this scenario, I don't think it's crazy at all for you to leave her alone and go chase the others and just kind of be happy with the fact that you got her injured, right? Because it's really scary to do gens injured against Onryo. So they're going to be pretty likely to want to heal, which is either going to A, waste their time, or B, it might help you sneak up on them later and help you get a freer down. And at the very least, you can maybe commit to a chase if you get one against like Claudette, where you know you'll be able to kill her pretty well, you know? Like this Nia is a strong survivor, and it's going to be hard to catch her quickly on Cowshed with a weak killer like Onryo. Again, I do think you had an opportunity right here. Like you could have done it right here. You had a golden opportunity that you just didn't take advantage of. But in general, it is just hard to do. So like maybe just the choice of committing to this chase is also kind of a rough one too that I think is questionable. But yeah, so I don't know. In my opinion, I think that I still think this result is good. I don't think any killer player is almost ever going to have a match with 0 mistakes, right? There's always going to be mistakes. So I do think you played this really well. Like I think you should. This is a game where I actually think you should be really happy with the result, with how hard of a match this was in terms of the strength of survivors and their builds, and also the map choice. And the killer choice. This is a good result, I'd say. But yeah, you definitely could have done better. I would say the key mistakes are, first things first. The first key mistake, and I talked about this once, and I never really brushed up on it again. The build. The build, to be quite frank, is not good. I mean, that being said, I'm not necessarily saying that you need to run the very best build every single game, no matter what or whatever, right? Like I'm not saying like, yeah, you got to run fucking the build that people run in comp every single time, no matter what. But like, again, Call the Brine completely alone is just not good. Like it's just not good, man. I mean, maybe you just don't have a very good perk selection or something. Maybe like you have to run it because you don't have anything else. I'm not sure. But Call of Brine alone with no other gen kick perks is just not good under like almost any circumstances. It's just a bad perk now. It's just a bad perk now, and it only goes from bad to like maybe somewhat okay if you combine it with other gen kick perks. I think Jolt and Corrupt are good choices. I think Stabiffle and Call of Brine are bad. Okay, Call of Brine's a horrible choice, and I think Stabiffle is a questionable choice. Like this perk will sometimes be insanely valuable, but sometimes it does nothing. And this is an example of a game where it does nothing, right? Like this is kind of what happens. If you run that perk, you run the risk of having a game where it does nothing. So in my opinion, I would rather replace that with something more consistent, like Sloppy Butcher, right? Sloppy Butcher is a perk that you definitely have. It's a free perk. It's not even a teachable. And that perk is amazing on this killer. Like if Stabiffle was instead Sloppy, this could have been a whole different game, right? If Call of Brine was instead Pain Res, this could have been a whole different game, right? There's so many perks that you could have interchanged here that literally could have changed the entire result of this match just from the build alone, even with making the mistakes that you made, right? But yeah, with that being said, the build I think wasn't too good. I think this play at Shack was really detrimental and could have snowballed your win. Again, I don't think this was like a massive mistake. I wouldn't even really call this a mistake as much as I would call it a missed opportunity. I think you could have played this better, and it was a big missed opportunity to like snowball. And then other than that, it was just the end game, the zoning of the palette with Nia, as well as just the general like choice to commit to her. And that was really it. That was really only your big mistakes. But unfortunately, the way this game works is that if you play a low-tier killer like Sadako, like if you're playing a killer like Sadako who's just generally not very strong, and if you go against a team that is a good team, and also if you're on a map that is a good map like Cowshed, unfortunately, you have to play really, really, really well in order to get a good result, right? Like that's just kind of how this game is. There is a lot of like predetermined stuff going into the match, right? Like if you were playing a stronger killer or if you're on a weaker map, then maybe these mistakes wouldn't have mattered and you would have got a 4K anyway. But yeah, it's just kind of how it is. That's really all I can say, though. That's really it. This was a good match, though. I think War Correspondent actually did play this really well. I think the early game especially was like, mwah, fucking chef's kiss, like perfect mind games with like the like invisibility mind games and everything. It was so good. Like honestly, I think the whole match was really good. Just a couple little mistakes that matters a lot because of Cowshed, and that's really it. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys like this. If you guys did like it, you guys can submit your own gameplay to be reviewed in my Discord. There's a channel called Gameplay Review Submissions that you guys can find down towards the bottom. So feel free to come in and submit. I do need more footage if I'm planning on doing this more. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Remember to sub, like the video, all that jazz. And I appreciate you guys hanging out. Hope you guys learned something. Have a good rest of your night. I'm out of here. See ya. I'll take care. See ya. See you later. See ya.